I want to welcome everybody to the Firebrand Podcast. This is your host, Grant McGaw. I am in Omaha, Nebraska, but my heart is still down there in South Florida. And there was a gentleman that I met down there in South Florida. He was one of my very, very first guests on the show. And people, if you didn't know, this is my fifth year as of June 1st, which was while we recorded this, it was yesterday, 5 years of
Wow.
podcasting that I've done over 270 shows. I've never missed a week. We've got well over 50,000 downloads. We've got rankings by FeedSpot, number one in the personal brand space. We've got rankings by Thinkers 360, number one by Thinkers 360 for my personal brand, doing a lot in the AI realm. And then today, we got to circle back to one of these guys. I mean, I met him on a golf course, I think, Naresh Samlal. I'm telling you,
Oh, wow.
this guy, he continues to impress me with his knowledge, with his tenacity and a go-getter attitude, man. When we talked, he was like, "No, yeah, I used to be an entrepreneur. Now I'm working for a very large hospice organization," and he was churning that out. And then, boom, he pumps the brakes, goes back into entrepreneurship. Like, what are you doing that for? Because I like this stuff, Grant. I like doing this stuff. So, Naresh, introduce yourself.
Man, I gotta find a way to take you everywhere I go as my hype man. I feel like, geez, after that, I'm ready to go, man. Let's go get some stuff done. So, no, listen, 5 years. Geez, um, congratulations. Impressive. Few people do anything that they've started that long. And so for somebody like me who a long time ago, I started to measure myself on by the things I complete, not the things I start. Hats off to you. 5 years into doing this, that is impressive. And not only survived, you've thrived. You've made, you know, a name for yourself on a global stage. And so I am honored to not only be a friend of yours, but also to have a front row seat to the journey. And so, yes, being on it, as one of the early guests, but also being able to circle back with you, formally in this manner and get some updates and both of us be at a different place fast forward 5 years to talk
Yeah.
about, the evolution of not only us individually, but kind of how the ecosystem around us has evolved as well. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Today I'm the CEO of CloudSource, which is a managed service provider. We focus on IT services. I like to say we're an MSP plus plus. It's
Okay.
the least we are because at the very basic level, we're a managed services provider, but we do own a private cloud. We do own many of the services. We don't sub anything out. We're all US based employees. We do everything in-house from our 24/7 security operations center to, again, our cloud, all layers of security, our virtual desktops. And I'm sure at some point we're going to talk about AI because everybody else is. Um, it's if you're not talking about AI today,
What are
I
you
don't know.
talking about? You're probably not but it's and I'm glad you said it about the where AI is because AI has been around for a long, long time. We just have coined. Here I am, a marketing guy, right? Now I'm in the brand and marketing, and I noticed it seemed like overnight everybody was an AI person, expert. Like, well, how did that happen? But if you really kind of unpack it, like, well, were you a digital transformers? I mean, digital transformation was a big thing a few years back. Well, what
Yeah.
does that mean? And but there we have seen in my lifetime, I've seen successive changes in technology and how it has impacted business and also society. I've seen the internet boom. I've seen I would say mobile compute, I would say cloud computing. What that's done is a lot of these have happened what I call at the enterprise level. And when you start looking at AI, and it's my opinion, you start seeing it at the enterprise level. But this is very much, I would say, almost a consumer product level. I mean, an everyday person can unwrap their AI, get into these models, begin utilizing probably the most prolific tech that's ever been invented by humanity. It's definitely been adopted quicker than the automobile, quicker than electricity, quicker than television, quicker than radio. I mean, this is a very powerful platform because it's more than just applications, it's more than just infrastructure. There's a lot going on here as you unpack this. Now, when I met Naresh, I was always impressed by what he did from what I call end user compute and then virtual desktop interfaces, VDI. I always liked VDI. Some of our non-techie people are like, what is that? Well, we'll unpack some of that. But some of our people that know what this is, it's a virtual desktop interface where you're not really touching the data, so to speak. You're inputting into it, but you're not really touching it as you are when you have your personal computer and your data and your files is living on that particular device. It's different. But I want to segue over to first, Naresh. You started Cloud Source. Why did you do that?
Thank you for asking that. I think it's really important to really understand what motivates, some of our actions. And this is one of those things. I think when we first met, I was VP of IT for a nationwide healthcare organization. Um, Very much climbing the corporate ladder, on the enterprise side. And then as you talked about, yeah, I've always had entrepreneurial blood in me. And then I went to the dark side, as some would say, right? And became a provider. I started CloudSource for a couple of reasons. I think the one, from an executive perspective, the one reason, the top of the list would be because I would work with a lot of different partners, and there was a lot of different motivations from these partners to do X, Y, Z, right? And so, listen, I understand commerce. I understand, you know, what business is. It's to make money. I get all of that stuff. Um, but I never really had the opportunity. I never could find it. I worked with many, many partners. Um, there wasn't really the total package.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to create an organization that had all of the pieces of a true trusted partner that I was looking for as an executive.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, when it comes to things like integrity, I listen, everyone will say that they operate from a place of integrity, and I totally appreciate and believe that for the most part, but everyone has different pressures and different motivations for things, and so it doesn't feel like it at times, right? Um, I wanted to provide a better option. I wanted to provide an organization that actually does what we say we're going to do,
Nice.
is who we say we are, is made up of the people and the qualities and the skills and capabilities and culture of who I say we are and who they all say we are.
Mm-hmm.
And just be true all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just be authentic, because at the end of the day, I'm approaching this as, yes, while it is a business, we have to be able to afford what we do, but I come from a philosophy of, we're just going to do the right thing and we're going to get taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, yes, I apply all these business principles to how we need to operate as a business and grow and all these things. Um, but at its core, it's just doing right by people. And
Mm-hmm.
if right may not make us more money in that point in time, it'll probably get us more clients through referrals, or what, it's going to work itself out. And
Well.
I just trust and submit to the process, and I sleep at night. And I don't worry. And you know what's really crazy about that? It's working.
Yeah.
We are growing at a pace that is um, unreal to my peers. And so I'm okay with, it's validating. you know?
Mhm.
So we are doing the right thing because that's so important. And I know I'm dwelling on something that may seem it doesn't have a place in business, but it's so important because there's so many examples of the opposite.
Right.
And that's how I chose to be different. And listen, everyone in my organization, you know some of them, you've met some of them, they're cut from the same cloth.
Yep.
You know, the
Yep.
partners that we have, yourself included, cut from the same cloth. Everything about any affiliation with cloud source cut from the same cloth. And so we're doing all right, and our customers are getting a better option, and we're growing effortlessly, and the right clients, partners, employees, all pieces are coming together in a very aligned way. And um, the intent is coming to life. And so
Let me piggyback on that,
Mhm.
Naresh, because this is what I see on my side of the ball. And I think I speak to some of the, let's just say, the CIOs out there, chief information officers, the chief digital officers, the CTOs out there, and they have to deal with this vendor community, right?
Right.
They have to deal with that. And it's not easy to get to what I call the trust infrastructure. How do I trust? Anybody can sit there and say, I can take you to the moon. How can I get you there? Everybody can come out with some testimony. Well, I flew such and such to the moon. I can fly you to the moon. But how do I trust that? How do I really know that you, first of all, are going to tell me the absolute truth? Because everybody knows if you've been in technology for any length of time, you know that things don't always work out the way that you drew them up. And this is just a fact of the reality. Somebody told me this when I was in college years ago. Electronics is not an exact science. You know, some of this is going to be different. It's never going to get you the same result. And we're talking about AI now. There's deterministic realities and there's predictive realities, and those are different modalities, right? But as a senior executive, I need to trust that partner when you're talking about programs and projects and putting something together, that there's a lot at stake. If your tech goes down, what is the implications of that in the business? If you're running a multi-million dollar business, a multi-billion dollar business, your tech goes out, lights out. Who do you trust? And I feel that not only the tech, but you understand the business implications. You've worked with these senior executives. You've been a senior executive. I would trust you. It's like, the rest, what's the real deal here? And then here's why this costs the way it does. You can explain to me the financial world that I'm walking into, right? And because the discussion that CIO or CDO has got to have with his team, his CEO, it's got to make sense, right? Otherwise, it's not going to be a great conversation when things don't go so right. So I applaud you for being one of those guys to take off the suit, right? You take off the suit, and he puts on the golf tee. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So I got a question because we met him. HIMSS is the Health Informatics Systems Society. You've been a big part of that. I don't think you're totally verticalized, but I know you have a healthcare background without
Yeah.
question. Here's the biggest question that people are going to ask. If I'm a CIO, I'm going to put on my senior executive hat. I'm going to ask you this, like, the rest. This is what I'm seeing. I got my employees are using AI. I used to be scared of shadow IT. This is little compared to what these huge implications of utilizing AI that is just everywhere. I can't control it. I can say, hey, here's license for Gemini, but they're using this, and this. I don't know where my data is going, when it's coming back, how it's intermixed with these public platforms. I'm a little bit concerned. Help me out here.
So AI has been, you said it, revolutionary. Um, it is bringing to our existence capabilities that were once only a dream. And I can say that firsthand that a year ago, I literally said I was having a conversation with someone on my team. Man, if only we could do that. But it's just not possible to do that. and it wasn't. And 3 months ago, as I sat with my lead AI architect at CloudSource, um, I'm like, just put it out there. Can you do so and so? He goes, I don't know, let's try it. 3 minutes later,
3 minutes.
I'm like, oh my gosh. What was not possible a year ago,
Mhm.
within minutes, and we didn't even know. We're like, let's just try. Here it is. And we're using that competitive advantage today.
Wow.
So, yes, AI has been revolutionary. There's two sides to that coin, just like there's no such thing as light without darkness.
Hmm.
There's two sides to that. And I think um, what's largely being sold to the masses is the pro, is what's in it for you, the benefits of it, right? How you can grow, the upside of it. But there's two sides to it.
Hmm.
You can't, there's another, no one's talking about that. And so, you know, if you follow my content or, any content on CloudSource, we actually do the opposite. We actually focus because we're a cybersecurity organization, and we have committed to telling the truth. And there's the other side of the coin where AI is, you just referenced it really, really well, comparing it to shadow IT. Well, just like AI created such velocity with innovation, it also created such velocity and exposure of vulnerabilities and risk. And so, yeah, shadow IT is now infinite with AI because now an employee is empowered through a interface that is consumerized and available to them with no controls, no governance. They're handing data over. They're handing secrets over. They're handing their competitive advantage over. And there's no stopping. There's no checks and balances. So someone in an organization can be sitting there using Claude, ChatGPT, whatever. It requires no admin rights to install on their computer. And they'll, you know what? They don't have to write this memo anymore, this document, this business justification anymore. They just have to upload these documents and ask for a prompt to spit out the perfect presentation. Saves them, I remember doing that stuff. It saves them days of work,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they just uploaded really critical information to a system that is not regulated in a regulated industry.
Mhm.
So hopefully that, paints the picture of the other side of the coin.
Mhm.
And that's just a couple of ways as to the risks that AI bring. In January of this year, we're in 2026, January of this year, from January to February, ransomware attacks in healthcare, only healthcare,
Yeah.
ransomware attacks grew 124%. 100% of the ransomware attacks were powered by AI.
No way.
That shouldn't surprise you. What's surprising you is nobody's talking about it.
Not in the news.
Nobody's
Somebody's.
going to admit their failure. Nobody's going to admit their defeat, right?
Mhm.
So that's not making headlines. And what's that? The reason that nobody's talking about it is because it's not sexy. It doesn't help their business.
No.
Fair. I,
Yeah.
I understand the logic, but if you're not talking about it, if we're not putting it out there, then nobody's understanding the risk around it. And
Yeah.
if you want to stick your head in the sand and pretend it didn't happen, you're in line for it coming to you,
Again and
right?
again and again.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right when you talk about shadow IT being nothing compared to this, because this, just like a compressed time in innovation, it's
Yeah.
compressing time in exposure and the
Yeah.
risk.
Yeah.
So
And with
hopefully that,
critical, oh, you totally nailed it. And We always know this, especially I'm putting on your cybersecurity hat, that the weakest link in the digital stream is the human being,
Always.
the human.
Yeah.
Uh, and not to say that's bad. Oh, take the human out of the loop. No, I'm not saying that. But you
It's
need,
also the strongest point.
yeah,
So yes.
yeah. You gotta. If we, so we don't. We have to educate our workforce
Yeah.
around the cybersecurity risk, just like we do with email phishing and the things that I think I think it was just in the news that one of the cruise lines just got a major breach because one of their employees got compromised, and then now millions of records are exposed. And this is happening, it's difficult because in an AI world, you can pretty much duplicate someone's voice, their likeness. There's so many different ways to do this, not just trying to trick you with text information. That's just one way. So now you've got all, to your point, the dark side of that. You have all these other modalities. And I always speak in these things. What is three things that, maybe there's four, I'm sure there is, that really technology can do very well. And I always say speed. If you need to speed something up,
Yeah.
speed to market, speed, tech. Wow, you have to do that. The other thing is communication. I can communicate so many different ways with tech, voice, video, text information. All of that can be sped up and done really, really well with communication. Right. The third thing is scalability. Now I can do it at scale that I could never do before. Going back to some things you just talked about, wow, I can now do this in 3 minutes, and wasn't even possible, a
Yeah.
year ago. So those three things are very. This is a we've taken something, because I know another one of my friends. His name is Richie Prasad. He said you've taken probably a apex predator and stuck it on top of the world.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize it that you've let this thing out into the wild.
Right.
Why it has a very smiley face, man. It has a Godzilla tail to it, and you don't realize it. So talk to us more about how you're seeing the AI not even revolution transformation. How is that helping the hurting cloud source?
So we are, before the rise of AI, and I think who knows when that started, right? Because today it is the news. It is the only thing everyone talks about. So, and that's probably been the case for a little over a year, to some people more than others. Um, Cloud Source was built again as a better option to solve some of the core problems facing, you know, SMB across the country. We have enterprise clients, but really we're serving the underserved,
Mhm.
that upper SMB mid-market client who really may not have the access and resources to take advantage of technology and resources that enterprise has,
Mhm.
right? We make those things very much available. So public cloud, virtual desktop, all layers of security, business phone system, all that stuff. We do all that stuff, right? Um, as we are helping more and more clients, mostly in regulated industries. So you mentioned healthcare. Yeah, that's our biggest vertical. A lot of healthcare, legal, financial, manufacturing is getting really big for us as well. Um, in the last I'd say three to 6 months, mostly 3 months, it's become less of a passive conversation and more of a customer saying, we really need this.
Mhm.
And it's their growing concern with AI. And so we have clients, a lot of our clients are very concerned about security, and that's generally why they work with us, right? Because a lot of our capabilities and services are a security first approach. And so, you know, they want to use AI. They understand they use AI in a playful, personal sense, and they so desperately want to uh, bring that into their business, but they're afraid. rightfully so, because they understand what I just talked about. They understand that they don't want to put their company data in the cloud, in the public cloud, because they don't want somebody else training their AI models on their data.
Yeah.
Data is gold. We live in an era where data is gold. And so they understand in many cases their data is their competitive advantage.
Hmm.
So they don't want to put that in a public cloud because they don't trust it, and they have good reason to do so. They put it on a private cloud where it's in a secure enclave. It's their data, and there's a force field around it that they know it's theirs and it's safe and secure, and they know which throat to choke, right?
Yeah.
The, we're the ones that take care of it for them. So their data stays their data. What's been happening is that again, what was just them venting about, man, Claude this, ChatGPT that. I'm afraid to upload documents in there. I want to use it. It's valuable, but I'm so deathly afraid to giving away my company's gold.
Intellectual property. Yeah.
And so, listening to the voice of the customer and just having this defensive mode on protecting our customers, we decided to solve that problem. And so what we've done is we've got a platform that, and I'll just kind of cut to it. We have a
Sure.
platform, an AI
Yeah. Yeah.
platform
Good.
that we bring into our private cloud. And so instead of taking your data to the public cloud or taking your data to AI, we bring AI in a very controlled, localized, private, secure manner to your data.
I love it. That's
So your
good.
data will always remain your data. You get the power of the intelligence
Hmm.
local with your data.
Hmm.
You're able to do all things AI. You can interact with the data, agentic. You have a platform that you can build agents, um, governance,
Yeah.
right? You have controls in there. So there's a couple of things. Your data stays your data. It can become your single company's brain.
Hmm.
Because here's the thing, if I use,
Let me ask you this, Naresh. Would
yeah,
you call that an SLM, a small language model in your private cloud or not? Would you?
yes and no. Let me explain that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a small language model. It doesn't have to be a small version,
Hmm.
right? There's ways that we're able to, again, just bring the intelligence of an OpenAI, of a Claude, which is not an S, that's full
Yeah.
blown.
Right.
Just the intelligence and apply it to your data and ensure that it's always containerized and stayed right there,
That's interesting.
right?
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, yes, we could host a local small language model and keep it local on your data as well.
Hmm.
So you can have your cake and eat it too. You get all of the power of AI and you never have to part with your data. And it always stays in your secure enclave that is tied to only you and your company, and it never leaves
Tell
the
me,
safety of a private
is it an
cloud.
enterprise service or is it an SMB service? Is it price? I mean, can the Main Street America afford something like that?
So that's a great question. So listen, again, going back to how I introduced who we are and what we are still built for doing the right thing by the underserved. And so while this is going to be very attractive to the enterprise,
Yeah.
it is very much available to the enterprise, but our customer is still our customer, and that's still upper SMB mid-market, right? So this is still accessible to the SMB. It's still going to be affordable to the SMB, because it doesn't have to be this outrageous, you know, everything we do could be expensive if you go a different route, but it's still affordable because it was designed and the economics of it without sacrificing quality still get the value at an affordable price. This is no different. This is just another layer on what we're already doing that everyone's asking for. And if they weren't asking for it,
Yeah,
they didn't know it could exist until they understand what we're doing.
exactly.
This is one of those things that you're going to then realize you didn't know you could live without. You know the problem,
Yeah,
you don't know the solution.
exactly.
We're going to crystallize the solution, and that's going to be, and we already know because we have a lineup of customers that we didn't have to do more than say, you know what, we'll do that for you,
Yeah,
and so we know it's going to be a very demanding, high in demand. We're probably gonna have to figure out our supply on it.
a good problem to have. Capacity.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. It's still a problem, and we still have solutions to those. So I'm not too worried about it, but it is something we're being very careful with because this is not AI. This is not some AI off the shelf thing. This is something that is not for everybody. This is for those organizations that really value their data and understand the implications of putting their data in public AI models.
Oh, you
This
got
is where they
government
have the power of
contractors.
those.
I'm thinking a lot of things just went through my head. And then one of the reasons why Five Star BDM and Cloud Source we're partners, right? We
Yep.
are partnering, and Naresh really love what I'm doing in the Omaha area,
Yes.
and that we're kicking off our first cohort here, this quarter, and we're going to be running these accelerators through small business, through the Omaha Main Street for the next couple of years, and really giving them exposure these kinds, because what I said earlier is so true. A lot of these things that were enterprise tools were not available to the small business owner.
Exactly.
They've been utilizing these things for a long time, but they were very expensive, very, very expensive to maintain. But now you've got AI where this is pennies on the dollar,
Hmm.
but you don't know how to use it. You just haven't been upskilled. You have the tool, but
Yep.
you're missing the skill set, you're missing the mindset. Well, how does this play into it? So that's where we're bringing this all together. So then we begin, when the light bulb then goes off, like, oh, I see what you mean. However, as Naresh pointed out, because there's always an opposite. We live in a world of opposites. There's going to be a positive, there's going to be a negative. If you don't understand these negatives, it's not going to work. Just like if you took the negative off of your battery terminal in your car, it's not going to work. You gotta do both. You gotta secure both ends
Exactly.
of the entire electrical system. Let's put it like that. So we're going to be doing that in the Omaha world. Cloud Source is going to be helping me to really articulate what's necessary, where this plays into, and as we get into these modalities that you talked about early, these verticals that really need to protect their data. This is not an option. My proprietary data, your intellectual property, copyright, trademarks, things like that. These are things that people should be definitely concerned about. How is that going to translate as we go forward? And you've got to have certain modalities and controls that are here. So talk to us more about how you see this playing out, especially in the 2026, 2027, even up to 2030 timeframe.
Yeah. So, we're early innings right now on the solution. We're probably going to have a public release in the next couple of weeks, which you'll be, front and center with us on. But we really believe over the next 12 to 24 months, this is going to be this is a necessity that, like I said before, folks, some many people, many organizations know they need this. They don't have an answer to it. Um, and the folks that are they don't know what they don't know about it.
Right.
This is going to start really lighting the market on fire in that sense because it's desperately needed and it makes sense and we're going to make it affordable and accessible, right? So a lot of things going forward. I think over the next 12 to 24 months, we're going to see a shift, much like what's been happening over the last year to 2 years with, you know, or starting 10 years ago everybody ran to the cloud,
Yeah.
right? And then there was the black hole of the cloud,
Mhm.
and now there is a shift out of the cloud because of cost, security, all the things that the cloud promised.
Yeah.
And it delivered, and immediately it delivered, but then living with it is telling a different story. There is a shift back to privatizing your data. And I think AI is just compressed, like in true AI fashion, compressing that time again. It's
Yeah.
not going to take 10 years for AI to figure that out. I think in 12 to 24 months, there's going to be a realization that, and that's where SLM is coming from.
Hmm.
SLM came from the concept of having to privatize, right? So we're already talking about somebody just learned what an LLM is, and now they're learning what an SLM is. So
Right.
we're already seeing the compression in that timeline to figure out how you privatize that experience and keep your data safe and control costs and things like that. I think that's what's going to happen it's going to start happening between now and the next 12 months, and we're going to start seeing the market kind of adapt, and more solutions come available. And we're plugged in right now, so we want to react immediately to give our clients and those who desperately need a better option an option immediately, because we actually have half of the answer, which is a private cloud. We
Right.
have the
Right.
place for it to live. And so, just having the platform in there completes the solution. And we realize, wait, we're there. Let's just do this now, make this available, and give customers what they're desperately asking for, and try to be at the tip of the spear on that kind of vision towards that
Right.
shift.
You got to have that futuristic view, but it's a now because, like you said, the
It's a
compressed
now, yeah.
time is going on. I have one last question to ask you, and it's an important one from my perspective because this is what I'm seeing. Because as we move up stack in the AI world from LLMs, SLMs, but we're going into this agentic world, AI agents and agentic. I'm a little bit concerned because what you're doing is you're automating processes, and I don't know if your people, businesses are really factoring in the change, flexibility of things. You're trying to make things very, very rigid, and it's coming out with pepperoni every single time, and somebody's going to want a cheese pizza, and it may not always know that. So and I just made that very simple. What I'm saying is you automate these processes, and then there's a change. It doesn't automatically update. It doesn't automatically know that. There's no sentience in agentic AI. It's programming, and stitching together different applications to give you a really cool automation on Monday and a really big mess on Friday if you don't really know how this works. How do
Yeah.
you see that playing out?
So, you take the concept of hallucination and you add gas on that, right? It's okay. It could make up its. I was in a conversation this morning about an example. This is an internal AI being used internally in a pretty large organization, and the example was AI hallucinated what infrastructure management uh, agent
Mhm.
hallucinated, and instead of spinning up an environment in a cleanup effort, it deleted production.
Wow.
So that happened. That's not outsourced. That somebody was sharing that with me.
Yeah.
It's a really good example of the unknowns, right? And so you don't know what you don't know. And there is such, there's too much trust and dependency being put on AI.
Hmm.
I think people are missing the point of AI, and herein lies abuse and just this blind faith. And AI is powerful, but it's a tool.
Hmm.
It should always be a tool. And as we develop our strategy for the platform that we're implementing, one of the keys is that this platform is governed by human oversight,
Yeah.
right? it never leaves the human driver. It is a tool. It should always be a tool. It's never the driver.
Hmm.
And so the problem with that is some people are going to have to get burned to realize that, unfortunately. The ones that may have gotten burned or understands that already, um, understands the value of governance. And so there's two things about our platform that answers that question.
Hmm.
We believe that there's a framework you need to follow. And rule number one with AI is in an event or a situation, much like the ones we just articulated, or runaway processes, all these types of things, can you shut it down in 60 seconds or less?
60 seconds.
If you can't, you got a governance problem
Hmm.
because you don't probably know what's going on. So if you can't hit that kill switch in 60 seconds or less and it shut down, we're probably not on the right track. There's desperately needing governance to become in there.
Hmm.
Governance is built in. So there's actually an AI agent on our platform that is responsible for governance, but it's all with human oversight on top of that, right? And the other thing is control, security, and no surprises. If you don't have the control mechanisms in place, that's one of them I just gave you. There's more. If you don't have, if you're not starting with sustainability in mind, and that's what that is how do you sustain this ecosystem that is AI? You're ahead of yourself. And herein
Wow.
lies risk,
Big risk.
you know?
Man, you don't want to learn the hard way, what you said, because I see this already happening. Everybody's just, they're coding. All of a sudden, you're a software engineer. You just learned this, what, a month ago? You don't understand. It's a little bit more than just coding. It's a
Right.
lot more than just coding. But
Yep.
you got to find that out. There's just great way to beta. Don't get me wrong. I love that you can beta some of these applications.
Yeah,
Production is a
it's
whole
powerful.
thing.
We
Yeah.
use we use AI largely in in cybersecurity defense. It's powerful, but it never leaves a human's oversight. An expert, not just a human, an expert. That's when the tool is, unleashing a beast.
Hmm.
It's not, you don't want to give the keys to a helicopter to a brand new driver.
Right.
You just don't, right? So it's gonna be cool for a second and then crash and
It,
burn. Hate to
yeah.
use that example, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, AI may seem, you know, safe in that sense because of the cool factor,
Hmm.
how quickly you can do things, but it's the driver. It's always going to come down to driver. It's got to remain a tool.
I want to close on that because it's
Yep.
so important to understand. And I know a lot of people, what people don't realize when you're dealing in the AI world, this is an IT, information technology, or I would say intelligent technology application and tool set. And there are experts that have been working in these worlds for a long time. Just because you opened up Claude and Claude Code and Claude Cowork, that's just one of those things. And they're kind of cool to play with, for certain, to get into the curiosity of it all. But when it starts leaving your hands and goes out into the world, as I said earlier, you're unleashing this out into the world. It's a whole nother animal, and we don't even understand what the implications are right now of what that's going to look like. Some of these guys, these cyber criminals, they're finding out. They're just spinning up stuff and throwing it out there to see what sticks. This is not cool. So you don't want to be one of those apps that it gets a hold of and gobbles it up and really misuses it. And because at the end of the day, you're accountable.
Yep.
You are accountable, and you're going to have to take responsibility for these creations that you're making. So, with all that said, Naresh, how do we get a hold of you? So if we get gobbled up, we can call you.
Well, I actually would prefer to talk to you before you get gobbled up so we can prevent it, right? That's the business we're in is preventing any of this stuff so
Thank you
you can
this thing.
thrive. But we are on, all of our social media, crowdsource, crowdsource.us is our website. I'm on LinkedIn and all social media. That's a great way to kind of stay communicating as well. Naresh Samlal, Naresh Samlal. LinkedIn is a great way. Our website, cloudsource.us, but really all social media platforms. We put out content intended to educate, inform, and keep people abreast of the things that people are not talking.
Hmm.
We're not in the business of selling in content. We're in the business of educating and teaching. And so if any of this is of interest to you or you just want to learn,
Yeah.
that's where we come from. And that's what we want to do. We can obviously solve and we provide a lot of solutions around that, but we believe the answer is truly in the education because, it's okay to say you didn't know,
Yeah.
but when you now know, it's on you, not me anymore.
I
And
love
so
it.
we just want to, educate as much as we can and inform people and let them know that there is a better option. And you only know why it's a better option when you know the details of it. And that's kind of where we're at.
And there's another thing that a lot of people don't know that I know because I learned it 5 years ago that Naresh is a legend in his home world, in the cricket world in Trinidad and Tobago. This
Legend.
guy was a legend. He left the game early,
Hardly.
left them all wanting, came to the US, and now he's been rediscovered.
That's too funny. So I'm looking at as we're doing this, I'm seeing the video. I'm like, man, I've been in the sun a lot. You can probably tell I'm definitely several like 20 shades.
Got some shades. You've been out
I'm
there kicking the ball.
My
Is it
tan
really what
is
you're doing?
layered on, and yeah, it's thanks to a rediscovery of a childhood passion. So I love cricket, and I'm in South Florida, so cricket is a big part of the community here for those that play, and there's very competitive leagues, and I play with teams and talent that play at the international level. And so, yeah, I'm having fun. It's definitely hitting my skin being in the sun in Florida sun. But no, I love it. Supporting the community out here, developing the sport and bringing more awareness to the game has been a treat. Stepping back into another passion of mine. So
Yeah, yeah, love it, man. Well, thank you for being a guest on the show again. You didn't know 5 years, man. 5 years. We've been running
that's
strong.
awesome.
To your point, this is the kind of thing that really, and that's what I love to do, is to share knowledge, to share with people, then their passion and what
Exactly.
it's all about, educating our community. We're really catching fire on Follow the Brand. I got a following that's worldwide, and I really, really thank my guests for tuning in and people from all over say, "I want to be a guest in the show. I want to be a guest." You love the demand of that and how that happens. And so I encourage everybody to see all our episodes from the very beginning to all the way to now
Absolutely.
on Fire Star BDM. That is the number five. That is star STR BDM, B for brand, D for development, and for masters.com. I want to thank you again for being on the show. Now,
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm honored to be here again and look forward to our continued relationship.
in Omaha, we're going to bring them to Omaha, Nebraska.
Absolutely.
Go Huskers.